intends to seek an indictment against Hunter Biden.
President Biden is going to run.
If that's what they felt that they needed to do to get their voices heard, I can't really get upset at it.
Right? We have a big heart, we have compassion, we're going to take care of people.
Hunter Biden is looking like he's actually going to get indicted, but for what? Climate crazies protest at the tennis U.S. Open, and the U.S. Open competitors don't seem to mind. Also, Kamala says that she is ready to take the reins as president, and the Fulton County grand jury tried to indict dang near everybody. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker that is completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is Friday, September 8th, 2023, the year of our Lord. A lot to catch you up on today. New revelations revealed around the Trump indictment in Georgia. Apparently, they tried to indict dang near everybody, including sitting U.S. Senator. But first, I want to get to this. There's more to this crazy story at the border. Oh, wow, that was quick. But first things first, there's a new policy, potential policy, putting out or allegedly going out from the Biden administration that critics correctly, adequately, are calling the Remain in Texas policy. This from Bill Maloogian of Fox News. Actually, well, he's tweeting somebody else who has this. The LA Times with the scoop reporting that the Biden administration is considering forcing some migrant families who cross the border illegally to remain in Texas, limiting their ability to travel within the U.S. as bipartisan criticism grows. So, remember, and the only reason why I say remain in Texas, and the reason that I think a lot of people get a sense of they've heard that before, is because remember the Remain in Mexico policy under Trump that lessened illegal immigration by a ton? Yeah, apparently the Biden administration is realizing the problem that they're having in a lot of their deep blue cities, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and of course, New York City, and realizing that we're losing those people. They are not on our side anymore. So what can we do? Well, let's screw Texas, because they're not going to vote for us in any way, shape, or form. So just screw the great Lone Star state of Texas. We'll keep them there. Again, the report coming out of the LA Times that the Biden administration is planning or supposedly going to institute a Remain in Texas policy to help alleviate some of the problems that busing illegals around the country have caused for their deep blue strongholds around the country. Now, there is some more interesting stuff around New York City. I know we've talked about New York City quite a bit when it comes to the illegal immigrant crisis. Yesterday, we played Mayor Eric Adams at a meeting saying this is going to ruin New York City, and he is right. But there's some other stuff that I didn't know was happening that is happening that I'd like to point out. You know what? I'm going to play this first. This is Deputy Mayor, what's her actual name? Ann Williams-Isom, talking about why New York is having such a problem. Now, we all know that the busing illegals around and flying them into places and all that sort of stuff is really the problem. But why is it a bigger problem there than anywhere else? Watch this clip and we'll clarify some things after it's done. Check it out.
That before it was kind of the right to shelter and what's going on in New York City was like our little secret. Now the whole globe knows that if you go to New York City, we're going to do what we always do, right? We have a big heart, we have compassion, we're going to take care of people, you're going to get a hotel room, you're going to get school open arms. And while we love that and we are so proud of that, I think in a way it's being used against us. And I am frustrated by that. And I would like some help about that. And I would like to kind of slow down what's happening at the front door a little bit I think Chicago and Philadelphia and other places are able to be like, stay here for 30 days, but then, on day 31, you can go to New York City, and then they'll take care of you. It doesn't seem fair to me, because then it puts us in a situation where we have to make impossible decisions, and I think that's why we're in part of the situation. And honestly, if we didn't have the right to shelter, I think we would still get people, but I think that it would be a little less in terms of the messaging, which is that there's a wide open front door right now.
Okay, so in case you didn't quite get all of that, I'm going to explain to you what's happening. The deputy mayor is talking about the New York right to shelter law that provides free housing in New York City, and she thinks the right to shelter law, if they didn't have it, would slow the influx of, they say migrants, I say illegals, coming to New York City. Now, here is the thing. There's a lot of people in here talking about Governor Abbott should send illegals to a bunch of different places. D says Abbott DeSantis should send illegals to Joe's hometown. Yes, that is happening. However, something else is happening that I'd like to reiterate what the deputy mayor of New York City said. She talked about Philadelphia saying you can stay 30 days, then you got to go. She talked about Chicago saying you can stay 30 days, then you got to go. Well, where do those people go? They end up going to New York City because now everybody is aware of the law of right to shelter in New York City. This is fascinating. Governor Abbott of Texas states that he's only sent about 13,000 illegals to New York City. And at this moment, according to this particular Vital News New York City has over 100,000 illegal immigrants in their midst. So, if Texas has only sent 13,000 people and there's 100,000 right now, who makes up for the other 87,000 people? Is it DeSantis? Where are they coming from? Well, in reality, Texas has bused people all over the country. And because the people in various cities like Chicago, Philadelphia, like they said, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., because they have more stringent policies on, look, we'll house you for 30 days, but then you got to go somewhere else. Those Democrat mayors of those cities, the leaders of those cities and those blue states are saying, we're going to send you to New York City as well. Which is freaking fascinating. I just assumed that was all Governor Abbott just sending busloads of people to New York City. But no, it's not. It's Democrat mayors in Democrat-run blue cities saying, yeah, we can't handle this, even though we are sanctuary cities that don't cooperate with ICE when you're trying to deport anybody. We can't deal with this either. We're also going to send them to New York City. Looking at Governor Abbott saying, hey, that's a great idea. We're also going to send our people there as well. That is freaking fascinating. And then, like the deputy mayor said, what's this article? This article says something that I thought is the wording I thought was kind of funny. She also thinks states and people are taking advantage of the right to shelter law. Yes, that's exactly what happens. Look, when I advocate and when people on the right advocate for less government involvement in things, it's not because they're mean. It's not because we're mean and we don't want people to have shelter and health care and all of these things. No, it's because once you give something away for free, one, the taxpayer is on the hook for it, and two, people will inherently take advantage of that system. And then the system will no longer work for the people who actually need it. That's the problem. And I think New York City is starting to see that in droves, especially given the fact that not only are there illegal immigrants coming from Texas, but they're coming from all over the country, specifically blue cities. Can you say irony with me? Hilarious. Just hilarious. Again, the best political stunt I have ever seen in my entire life. Bussing people around. But that is that. I want to move on because I don't want to belabor on this. Anything else? If this Remain in Texas policy actually comes true, we will bring that to you as it comes. Want to get to this because I think this is interesting. The full grand jury indictment, or the full grand jury, I don't know the legal terminology of it. The special jury in Fulton recommended charges against a whole host of people. The Fulton County judge releases the final grand jury report on alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia. Now, remember, Fannie, what's her actual name? What's Fannie's last name? Whatever. The DA down there in Fulton County, Georgia, ran on indicting Donald Trump and his conspirators. Well, they in fact tried to indict dang near everybody. The special grand jury in Fulton County recommended charges against Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and former GOP Senator David Perdue of Georgia and Kelly Loeffler of Georgia in a newly released grand jury report shows. I feel like this doesn't help their case. Again, we're not going to go full blown into this and talk about it forever, but I feel like it just doesn't help their case that, okay, you guys literally were throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck. Sticked? What? What? Is that a Friday thing? Is that a sleep deprivation thing? Sticked? They were throwing things at the wall to see what stuck, and even the grand jury, even the crazy, in my opinion, grand jury in Fulton County is like, yeah, let's go ahead and not indict a sitting U.S. senator who is very, very distantly related to this whole thing and probably didn't do anything wrong. Now, fortunately, yeah, they weren't indicted. Talking about 3 U.S. senators, not all active. But bottom line here is, come on. Like, I don't think this helps your case. But I digress. You know what else? You know whose case needs helping? This guy, Hunter Biden. Anybody heard of Hunter Biden? We've talked about him quite a bit, and this is not necessarily old news, but 24-hour old news, which is old news in the world of the 24-hour news cycle. But well, I'll let Wolf Blitzer of CNN explain what's happening with Hunter's case, and we will discuss briefly on the other side before we move on to what I think is the funniest story of the day. Check this out. Hunter Biden, likely indictment.
And there's more breaking news just coming into CNN right now. The special counsel, David Weiss, intends to seek an indictment against Hunter Biden relating to gun charges by the end of the month. That according to a new court filing. Biden had previously reached a deal involving a gun possession charge that would have allowed him to avoid prosecution if he met certain conditions over a 24-month period. Once his plea deal, though, fell apart in court, the future of the gun deal has been in limbo.
Yeah, so that's that. Hunter Biden likely to be charged with a gun charge. Now, does that make any difference to me? No, it doesn't at all. Remember, was he gonna plead guilty to the gun charge? He was gonna plead guilty to that stupid sweetheart deal. He was gonna plead guilty to like paying his taxes late or something, and then the gun charge would have been taken off the table, and he would have had immunity, blanket immunity for everything he's ever done ever in his life. But sorry, I was Googling something while this was going, and I'll share that with you in just a quick second. But now there's talk of Hunter Biden being indicted for a gun charge, which to me means absolutely nothing. I guess, is it good that he would be getting charged for something? Yeah, I guess. But at the end of the day, nobody really cares about Hunter Biden's gun charges. We care about the whole corruption thing with him and his dad, who is the president of the United States. So whether or not he does 6 months in jail for being a coked out drug addict who lied on a gun form is entirely irrelevant to me and to people who actually care about the corruption at the top of the country. The gun charge is unlikely to pull in the big guy and look into any of the taxes. It is strictly a paperwork thing which I don't think to me makes any difference. But I guess we'll continue to remain affixed to the Hunter Biden situation, special counsel. If this is what the special counsel does and then wraps up, we are going to have a whole heck of a lot more to discuss as a nation and whether or not we trust the justice system. And I would imagine a lot of you already are saying no. What I was looking up here is, since we played that clip, since we played that clip, it was Wolf Blitzer, who is a CNN host. Never forget that Wolf Blitzer ended with $- on Celebrity Jeopardy when he competed. Celebrity Jeopardy, famous for being much easier questions so that celebrities could participate. Wolf Blitzer, noted journalist of CNN, ended with $4,600 in the easy version of Jeopardy. Why did I do that? There's no reason to just go ahead and kick Wolf Blitzer. Sorry, Wolf. But also, come on, dude. Moving on to this. This from The Hill. Kamala Harris says that she is ready to assume the role as president if she were to need to. That was Al Sharpton-esque. Where's this article? Vice President Harris says she's prepared to be the president if necessary. Again, that coming from The Hill. Vice President Harris, oh my gosh, repeating it for a third time. Brushed off concerns of the president's age as the pair campaigns for a second term. She said on Margaret Bremen's Face the Nation, set to air on Sunday, that she is ready if necessary, but Joe Biden will be fine, says the president. Biden's octogenarian status has brought re-election bid critiques from the right and from the Democratic Party about his health, as he vies for another 4 years in office. He would be 82 as he takes the second term. The only reason why I bring that up is to play this clip from Gavin Newsom. I think this is also one of those leaked or teased clips. Gavin Newsom sitting down with Chuck Todd, who I thought was going to be done with Meet the Press at the end of the summer. Anyways. But I want to play this clip from Gavin Newsom. Watch this. Gavin Newsom again says he's not running for president. He is. This is a lie. Gavin Newsom is 100% running for president. So watch this clip and we will discuss on the other side.
Filing deadlines haven't passed. President Biden doesn't run. Why shouldn't we consider you a likely candidate?
I think the vice president is naturally the one lined up, and the filing deadlines are quickly coming to pass. And I think we need to move past this notion that he's not going to run. President Biden is going to run, and looking forward to getting him reelected. I think there's been so much wallowing in the last few months and hand-wringing in this respect, but we're gearing up for the campaign. We're looking forward to it.
But you hear these calls privately. What do you tell these donors who are wallowing in this?
Time to move on. Let's go.
And am I supposed to interpret that comment about the vice president that if for some reason the president chose not to run at this point,
well, that's the
everybody rallies around her?
It's the Biden-Harris administration. Maybe I'm a
You
little
respect
old-fashioned.
that. Yeah,
Maybe I'm a little old-fashioned about presidents and vice presidents. I was a lieutenant governor, so I'm a little subjective.
Yeah. Gavin thinking, well, I respect the process. Get out of here with that. This is also kind of interesting from the Daily Caller. Henry Rogers reporting. And let's see. Biden allies say it would be racist for him to run against Gavin. Wait. Sorry. Biden allies say it would be racist for Gavin Newsom to run in 2024. Biden allies have not been shy about arguing that replacing Vice President Kamala Harris with the Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom would be racist, NBC reported Tuesday. As speculation grows that Newsom will make a White House bid for 2024 if Joe Biden is unable to do so, some Biden allies move that it would be problematic and would prevent Harris from being the first black female president, per, again, NBC. I don't know how much to continue saying that Gavin Newsom is running for president, but Gavin Newsom is running for president. I would bet, you know what? Is there can I bet on this somewhere? Are there some bookie, can I bet as much money as humanly possible? Because especially with clips like this, Gavin saying, well, I'm not running for president. There's no way I'm running for president. I would imagine somebody would take that bet with a pretty substantial amount of money, and I would be handsomely wealthy when I turned out to be right that Gavin Newsom is running. And the only reason I know that Gavin Newsom is running is because he has to. He has to run for president now. And if he weren't, he loses all opportunity to ever become the president of the United States. Remember Barack Obama, 2008, 2006-ish, figured out that he needed to run now. Now was the time. And he won, and he was successful. Gavin Newsom, if he does not run in 2024, God forbid Kamala Harris wins in 2024, won't be able to run until 2032, in which case he will be a washed up former governor of a state and nobody will care about him. He won't be relevant anymore. So like I said, Gavin Newsom is running despite what he's saying here. It's a bold-faced lie. He's running for president. Take it to the bank. If anyone would like to make a bet with me on it, please send me a message. I would happily take your money. Moving on to this. Thought this was interesting. Kind of an interesting look into the world of athletes. The climate crazies continue their craziness. Yesterday at the semifinals of the U.S. Open, climate people were doing their climate thing. I want you to watch this quick little video, and we will then watch the response to this, which is actually the interesting part on the other side. Check it out. So the U.S. Open semifinals match, which featured Coco Gauff, who is a 19-year-old, who's playing phenomenally, by the way, disrupted the match for about 50 minutes, which is 3 people yelling. You feel like they could have taken care of that, but I don't know what kind of security they have at tennis matches. But I feel like 50 minutes is a long time for 3 people who are just yelling. They don't have any instruments. They don't have vuvuzelas. They don't have drums or anything like that to completely disrupt one of the biggest sporting events, I guess, in the country, at least as of right now. But here's what I thought was really interesting. Coco Gauff, pretty sure it's Gauff, was at a press conference and was asked about it. Now, 1, I want you to listen to how the journalist asks the question, and 2, how she responds. I will give some grace to the fact that she's a 19-year-old tennis player. Not a lot of political awareness, probably. But anyways, listen to this, and we will discuss some of the alternatives that I think would spark a different reaction from this individual. Check it out.
It's an environmental justice, right? I believe that this protest tonight was about environmental justice, and you're one who's very astute about these sorts of matters, and I'm wondering how you feel about a protest like this in the semifinals of the U.S. Open.
So the moments like this, are history-defining moments, and like I said, I prefer it not to happen in my match, but I wasn't pissed at, the protesters. I mean, I know the stadium was, because it just interrupted entertainment, but, I always speak about preaching, preaching about what you feel and what you believe in. And it was done in a peaceful way, so I can't get too mad of it. Obviously, I don't want it to happen when I'm up or winning up 6-4, 1-0. I wanted the momentum to keep going. But hey, that's what they felt that they needed to do to get their voices heard, I can't really get upset at it.
Okay. Eva.
Yeah. All right. Here's what I think should happen. Whenever the finals match is, I think there should be some pro-life people that go and do the exact same thing. And I wonder how the reaction to it would be following that particular protest. I'd just be curious. If some pro-lifers said, hey, here's what we believe, and use their voices to get their word out, like she said. I wonder how the reaction would be by the media, by her, by the world. Unfortunately, I guess, shouting at sports matches seems to be below pro-rights or pro-life activists seems to be above that, and that sort of nonsense, quote-unquote, protest is below them. But I think it would be actually fascinating if people decided, well, hey, wait, she said, if they feel like they need to get their voice out and it's non-violent, yeah, well, go ahead, do it. Of course, she did say, I believe in climate change. Again, not going to hit her too hard because she's 19 years old, and I guarantee you, once she starts, she's a promising tennis player. So probably going to be in the tennis world eye for a long time. I would be willing to bet. She's 19 years old now. But when she gets a little bit older, starts winning a little bit more money, starts realizing how much of that money is going away, she might turn her tune a little bit. So I have hope. Again, not going to hit her too hard for it, but the statement of, well, it's a peaceful way of getting their voices out. I can't blame them for that. Would love to see, for example, a pro-life protest do the same exact thing. And I wonder how that would be received. Anyways, that'll do it for us today and this week. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in, those of you who do and have. Like I do every day, if you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB pretty much anywhere you'll be able to find me. Also, tickets for the Fallbrook Comedy Show, the Star Spangled Banter comedy tour with myself, Elephant Party, and a couple other fun comedians are selling quickly. So Fallbrook, September 23rd, which is a Saturday. Van Buren, Arkansas, October 6th, which is a Friday. Tulsa, Oklahoma, October 7th, which is a Saturday. All on sale at my website. Just type in jobob.com. More dates to come, but tickets aren't on sale yet, so no point in mentioning them. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Oh, no, sorry, lied. It's the weekend. Yes. TGIF. See you Monday. Have a great weekend. Try to stay out of the politics and the craziness going on. I don't know. Go do something fun. See you Monday. Probably. God bless America.